Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com, that's A-R-A-E-L.
From the future, by way of the past, I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today at Answers from the Universe. And I'm here with JP, and we're going to have an interesting, fun show. I think it's a little lighter than last week. It's been a little intense. It's been way too intense in the past couple of weeks and maybe even months. I don't know. It depends on how you interpret it. But information continues to flow. I'm grateful to be the conduit of the information. People often ask me, and they say, do you go into trance? How do you do this? And I said, sort of like automatic handwriting, but not quite. I mean, as I'm using a typewriter or using a computer or laptop and just typing away and engaging in the conversation and then showing what I have. Some people say, well, asked me, kind of hinted, wondering how these conversations come about and, there you can see there's different personalities. Those that know me recognize that my personality is consistent, so it's not like an alter ego or anything of that nature. But it's just another extent of communication. Now, some of it seems very light and like just conversation. I try to explain to people, I'm opening up to a specific window of time and engaging with them, and whatever is happening in their world at that time, or their universe, their experience, their reality, is what I'm picking up and what I'm describing and sharing with you. So we're capturing a snippet of time somewhere in time-space, and then I'm allowing you to hear about it, maybe even imagine or see it, and then also the conversation is related to, at that moment in time, what I'm opening up and what is actually happening on the planet, if they're actually mentioning things on the planet. Now, this week we don't have anything from Rodan. So before I keep on going, hello JP, how are you?
Hi there, how are you? I just have to say, sorry about all this thing about sleeping. Everybody's been talking about how people are sleeping weirdly. Well, I've been sleeping weirdly, and I've been getting up far too early in the day for me to carry on all the way through the night. And so last night during Max's show, I just completely crashed out because I've been up for 20 hours, and I was really exhausted. And I just thought I just thought I'd sit down a moment, and boom, 3 hours later, oh, hello, sorry about that. But anyway, you all seem to get on very well, and it was a good show about aspartame,
Aspartame and all the sweeteners that are artificial, yeah.
Yeah, I wrote a song many years ago called, What's Her Name? Comparing aspartame to a kind of a fake beauty. She's as sweet as sugar, but twice as deadly, with some of the lyrics in this.
Oh, that's interesting. You have that song?
I never actually got it really properly performed, but it was like one of these, 1950s big bands where somebody shouts out, "What's her name?" and they all reply, "Aspartame."
We'll have to get that produced. I know that Max and Nicole did a fantastic job in, I think it was, Dr. What was her full name? Jay?
Dr. Hull. And I can't remember what's her name, because her nickname is funny. It's just like Holistic. Yeah. Her name's Holistic.
Holistic,
Dr.
yeah.
Hull. Anyway, yes, it's very interesting. And so we had lots of good fun last night. I haven't put the archive up yet, but I'll do that later when I actually woke up.
I lived in a place called Hull, Massachusetts.
All right, cool.
There's a very beautiful beach there if you know where to look. Mm. And, I kind of missed that place. I wish I could kind of go there every now and then. But anyhow, we're off on to the Andronicus stuff. And, also I want to remind everyone too, I talked about a trip to Ireland, so we were planning on going in August, and that has been changed to October 2nd. So still, we're putting it up there if anyone wants to join us.
Oh, that's cool. I might be able to have time to get to do that. Maybe
I think that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it'd be really good to take some time out, actually go to another place instead of my own house, even if for a couple of days. Yeah, I've only been to Ireland for 4 days ever. And maybe I could take that up to 8 days. But I tell you, it's a time warp. You'll feel like 400 years. It really will. Wow. It's a fantastic, beautiful, ancient place. I mean, you can really, people talk about, people boast about how they're Irish, and stuff. It is a fantastic place. But it does rain all the time. That's why it's so green. Okay, just to let you know, and that's why you always see American tourists with, it's almost the same make of, overcoat, raincoat. So, get yourself something that can really take a lot of rain. That's why something very waterproof.
Okay.
And light.
Yeah. And light.
Because the weather changes. So it might, be like a monsoon 1 minute, and about like half an hour later, it's tropical. So you're sort of roasted and boiled. Anyway, it's a beautiful, but it really is a beautiful place. And actually in October, it might start getting a little cool. So, you might not need the, no, you just take things off. That'll be fine. October's good.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll stop giving you a weather report about, long-term weather report for Ireland. So anyway, it sounds like a really good trip. Where are you going to go to?
Well, I want to, just tell you about Shona Journeys. They do a fantastic job, and they know some of the hidden places because they, James Sheehan, who runs James and Alona, who run it, they know all the ins and outs of the location, and they're going to show sacred places regarding, Viking history, fairy history, some of the places of the Celts. I mean, it's just, there's so much there, and it's going to be very, very magical. And I have a connection to that. It's funny because we're talking about it a bit, and Andronicus mentioned something about Avalon today. And I wasn't expecting to tie the two together, but maybe that makes sense. But it's
Avalon. That's interesting because
yes.
I used to live in a place called Glastonbury, and in southern England, which is like it's kind of like it's got a lot of the charm and the magic of Ireland in a small area. In the middle of Somerset, amidst, sheep farms and, cider factories. There's this place, and it's got an ancient hill and these all ancient places, and legends of King Arthur and Guinevere and Merlin abound in, Avalon.
So you're going to hear something because, it's fascinating stuff. And, believe me, I wasn't expecting to have this conversation with him. You never know when the conversations where they're going, and I just sort of, like I said, I transcribe it. I'm the transcriber. I'm the record keeper. And so we're just, gathering the information here, and yes, it's the same magic. I think that because I have a connection to Avalon from a previous experience, which even Andronicus brings up again, and I talk about it in my book, The Seer, Violets in the Grass. So I'm anticipating that the connections that we have and those that come with me are all going to be part of this group, and it's going to be the right collection of people. And for whatever reason, those people are not emerging yet, but they'll know who they are when they're going to join us in October, because they'll be the right people. We only want the right people that are supposed to be there at that moment in time. And it will help to assist this just really amazing experience. I'm anticipating something very powerful, and I think that maybe we weren't quite ready for it. That's why the time had to be moved. And I had a heartfelt conversation with Alona and James about it, and they agreed that it didn't seem like it was the timing. And I go with the flow. You know, if the doors open up and everything comes together, then it's the right place and right time and right path. And if the doors aren't opening up, then either there's an obstruction and there's something I need to see and observe and learn from, or I'm going down the wrong path. So, and I take that, this is the way I live, this is my life. I've learned that the path of least resistance is usually the best way to go. People like to kind of butt up against the bricks all the time, you know. So try to find the place of flow in your life and follow that. And so, you know, embracing that experience, even some of those challenges are there for us to learn. But like I said, whatever it is, everything was not aligning properly for this summer. And I don't say anyone did anything bad. I just think it just wasn't the right time. And I'm sure that I'll understand that later. But also the group, the people that are supposed to be a part of it, only a part of the group is in agreement with going at this time. And they were going to go in August, and now they still plan on going in October. And so that's a few that are already signed up to do this. But there are still some spots available. And if you feel that you are part of this journey, then please join us. It'll be fantastic, and I can give you all the details about it when we have a discussion. So.
Hey, Jess, wouldn't it be nice if we could meet in Glastonbury?
I think, oh my gosh.
I'll rendezvous October 13th, okay? See you there.
Yes.
In the High Street, and I know a really nice little place. They make really good cakes because my friend makes them.
Wow.
Rita Scrumptious makes these, I don't know if she still owns I think she still owns the company or has something to do with the company. She's moved on to fashion, but, she made the best cakes, organic, to live for.
Well, maybe something will work out and we can have more things going on. So we'll take the tour and then maybe we can have an event or two somehow intermingled.
Yeah, maybe do some lectures or something.
Yes.
Some conferences. There might be some conference spaces opening up, or even just attend a conference and, just hang out with people and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd love to meet people. I know that's, a couple people have reached out to me saying that they live around the area and they want to know where I was going to be when I was out there in Ireland and wanted to meet. And I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Anyone that, has been listening in. I'm a real people person. And I like to just kind of get to know everyone, say hello, and enjoy life, enjoy that part of it. You all make life interesting for me, and I appreciate you very much. So, let's look forward to some things together in the future, and I'm opening that up to all. So, anyhow, I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind, JP, and we'll talk about it some more. So,
yes, indeed. So how about a quick...
Meanwhile, at stately Wayne Manor.
Yes. Should we go right into, I think we should go to Kraton first.
But do we have any, as they say, matters arising from any previous meetings?
There's stuff happening everywhere, there's stuff happening everywhere. I had an incident of someone, seeing a parallel experience as a super soldier who was just like a mother and a parent and just, things of that nature, just really powerful stuff. And, a lot of people contacting me for different things that are going on, and of course, we have those that are working for the universal good, you know, our superhero friends, and that are here to help and assist and are very powerful and trying to make the world a better place and the universe a better place. So, but I don't have the ability to talk about some of those things because they're all private unless people consent. I respect their privacy and what they want to talk about, what they don't want to talk about. So, how about you, JP? Is there anything else pressing that you'd like to discuss?
Any pressing matters arising?
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I number one, I want to say I very rarely look at the comments on YouTube things, mainly because I'm just too busy. I'm producing things all the time. I produce like 3 hours of show at least a day. And I really don't have time to look at. So, but if you want to message me, you can message me at the station, Wolf Spirit Radio, or Ever Beyond Radio is best. Go to everbeyondradio.com and, there's a contact form that I look at. And you can, send me personal messages there. But really, we can't enter into, well, I don't know, Jess, do you go to the, YouTube page sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, not often enough. So if I haven't gotten to you, we're going to, you know, I'm sorry, I'll go in and check at some point and then just, you know, respond to everyone. It has been so busy. And also we're working on a website.
Yes.
And, our wonderful Olivia has been helping us and she's doing an amazing job and, trying to just collect all the info that she needs, and get everything set up there. But, I'm working on some artwork that needs to be done. I really want people to kind of get a feel for what I'm seeing when I'm interacting with the cast of characters of Andronicus. And so that'll be really nice and a lot of fun, but there'll also be a forum in there if people want to comment and get involved. So like I said, this is a part of, this belongs to everyone. So I think JP, you had a great idea of sharing this with the public so that they can go in there and type in whenever they have something that they want to share.
That's right. I want it to be, well, I say I want, but I'm pretty much getting the idea that that's what they want. Because, you know, I understand the process now of having connected with my own guides. And like you connect with your guides, you know, very much more intensely than I do. But, having connected with my own guides, that they see it in a very different way from we do. And, you know, we may be making a kind of tiny approach, but because they're out of time and space, they see that our involvement is at some point 100%. And that's how they treat us all the time. And so, if we now look back at these early communications and see and actually read them again, because now we understand so much more. I mean, I read the first like 3 Rodan transmissions. Strangely enough, he's not here today, but he's not with us today. But I read the first 3, and so much made sense. And you know, this is the real kicker. It's 100% consistent. You know, if you had to make this up, you would have had to write story arcs, you'd have had to write a Bible for the whole list of characters, but no, they've all come in completely spontaneously, completely in their own time and space, and built up their presence with us, and still they are absolutely consistent within themselves. So what Rodan is talking about and the way he speaks and those kind of words he used is the same all the way down the line. And that's that's the real kicker for me, because these characters have their own reality, and they're not just, they're not random. This is not random. You're not making this up. That's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, I cannot, now that the part of, I'm telling everyone what people are saying, what these different ones are saying, even like Tektatron or Meetis, that it can be a little, manipulative. Meetis is very, very sly, you know, but, I can only convey what they're telling me. So if they're embellishing something, it's possible. but I'm sharing what they're saying. I'm not necessarily saying, but I do believe that, you could tell by their character that you can take some of the stuff that they're saying with a grain of salt. But the ones like Rodan, I really feel like he's coming through and being very, full of integrity. And, even Andronicus, and sometimes they're speaking the truth because they have nothing to lose. I mean, who's going to say or do anything to them? They're sharing exactly what they do, and even in a form of like a confession, they're saying, "Well, this is what I did. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it." And there's no one there to judge because they're ancient. Who's going to judge them? But they still, fall hard when they fall, and they do learn, and for the most part, they're reasonable. But, like I said, I'm sharing their information. It's not my ideas, because if I had to sit there and think about it, I'd be overwhelmed. In the past month and a half or so, I've been writing these transmissions right before the show, like in the morning, starting maybe around 10 o'clock in the morning. And then the show starts at 2 here, Eastern Standard Time. So, believe me, that's transferring the information. That's not pre-thinking. I don't have a history of writing any books before I started to open up my psychic abilities to this level. And, everything happened around 2009, 2010, in that area. So anything before then, you'll see that I have no creative writing. I did a little bit of marketing. I didn't write any stories. I have no history of it. So.
But the thing is, now here's the interesting part, alright? You did marketing, and you say it like very blasé. If you hadn't done the marketing bit, you wouldn't have been able to have a fantastic website like Readings by RL, or the one that's coming.
Right.
This wouldn't have happened. I have to say, oh God, Lisa Wakantanka, I can't remember, she calls herself Lisa Wolf Spirit. She was completely inspired by Dave 2 years ago, and set up her own radio station, and she's now blending with Wolf Spirits Radio because she's a wolf pack for sure. And we did her first show last week. And this week she interviewed me.
Oh.
And we started talking. So she said, where did it all start? So I started when I was 15, what I've been interested in. And I'm not kidding. I said, you got to spare a couple of days. I spoke for 4.5 hours, and it was just a gloss of these different life events that each one contributed a talent or skill or aptitude or patience of or something to what I do just this very day, even this moment. Even unto thee, even unto thee, I say. Sorry. So
what is the name of her network that she's a part of?
Hang on, mind fart. What do they call it? My brain went just completely blank.
That's okay. We can come back to it later.
Yeah, it'll come back in a second.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Should we move on?
Should we hit the dream harp?
Yes, and start off with Kraton.
Oh, Kraton. Oh, right. Okay.
We'll get the tough stuff over with.
Yeah. Let's get more and more Dolce Vita on the way out. Okay. Oh, yeah. Now, if I remember, Kraton was one of these, and some of this.
Yes.
It has been my quest to conquer and root out Zoroastra from the foundations. He had entered the gate unlawfully while I was in rest, as I held the greater depths of knowing. The time has come when all those who have altered the chambers, the depths, the early foundations of mankind, the early foundations of all civilizations, the early foundations of truths, to come forward and take their bitter judgment for misconduct. I will be their judge and jury. None else can interfere because these are my parameters. Upon returning to the upper dimensions, I discovered that the foundations were not generally disrupted, but methodically deconstructed, and, moreover, I discovered attempts to reformulate the structure within the foundations. Unbeknownst to them, this would have created a collapse within the very reality they had tried to create, or even their very existence. The foundations are foolproof. I had them designed myself, and they will destroy anything that tries to alter them. It is established, and it is so.
I had seen a long time ago Zoroaster meddling with the atomic levels, where I saw platonic solids in disarray and strewn about. I watched.
Oh, sorry.
I watched as he would take people, priests, who would serve them and bring them to a time back in history. Typically the pre-ice age of the dinosaurs and large creatures on the planet were somewhere in the background. Each time I viewed it, there was a white, small building with 2 windows on either side of a centrally located door. There was always a white table in the middle of the room. Then placed on top of the table, there were 2-foot scaled platonic solids. Just shapes, triangles, spheres, squares, rectangles, etc. I never saw the more complex shapes. They were always the primary basic shapes. All of the solid objects were white as well. Then I would see the students. Actually, I peered through the window as I connected to a person who was a participant in this project. I call it a project because they seemed to be hand-selected. I knew that this was not a recent program or a project, not like the MK Ultra programs of my labs that we talk about today. This was an ancient program and would have been very well have been the inspiration for many of the secret societies and hidden agenda factions that we know and understand today. The founder of the very beginning of our human existence, the origin of some of these hidden things, to my understanding, came from Zoroaster.
Not exactly. There were others, but not as long-lasting as Zoroaster. He had a mission to destroy things that were unseen, to assert his own power. If he could destroy the unseen, then he imagined that he could collapse the system that existed, and then step back while all was in disarray. There would be wars, crime, disharmony, natural disasters, confusion, miscommunication, and then collapse of each system that was present on the planet. He targeted each system that was designated by me to hold the space and had universal permission to be on the planet. One by one, he disassembled their efforts to keep harmony and peace on the planet. He even went to other galaxies and did the same. By getting into the core elements, he was able to create a form of chaos that defied logic. No matter what they did, they couldn't fix it because the root cause of the problems lay in the foundations.
I felt like I couldn't speak openly about this when I discovered it. What I had witnessed. At first, I felt this influence was gone. I thought I needed to tell everyone to try to find the healing, the restoration of what we formerly had. Every time I tried to speak or write about it, I had this foreboding dread, a fear, not knowing where this feeling of danger or threat was coming from. I mentioned Zoroaster briefly in my book, The Seer. I didn't really say anything about him. I just needed to leave a remnant, something there in the event that I couldn't complete the thought, that someone else might look further into it. Now I see the system was ridden with illness from this viral invasion into the foundations of our existence.
He thought he could escape the responsibility and fled to outer regions, finding Saturnus deep in sleep in stasis. Knowing that he was ancient from another place and time further out in time and space, he performed a surgery to disguise his guilt of tampering with the foundations. In your ideas of memory, you believe that all memory of what you know and what exists is in your brain. That is not the truth. The heart retains the memory of all your actions and history of your essence, or, as you regard, as your soul. It is the record keeper of you. Knowing this, Zoroaster beheld the wondrous being Saturnus as he lay asleep beneath the twilight sky and bed of earth that nestled him in his sleep until his reawakening. This is something we have all done. I watched over as he stood over Saturnus and pondered his pure heart and powerful essence. He longed for that which was grand and envied his ever so ancient soul, transcended time to the point when breath was the existence of light. He then, with an hearty malice of contention, an envy of what he was not, he tore a deep, laser-like cut into the chest of Saturnus and pulled from him a blue heart. It was pristine and pure. Then, further severing himself, he cut out his own heart and quickly replaced it with Saturnus. Upon making the transfer, he laced the treachery of his desires upon the heart and began to pollute it immediately with his envy and desire for power. The black heart of Zoroaster kept Saturnus in sleep, a permanent stasis. The planet then swallowed him into the depths because of the density of his matter had changed. There he lay as the entire planet began to envelop his energy. Saturnus, discovering what had happened, unable or undecided to awaken in this body, chose to separate himself and come into other forms of existence as well as within the human body. Zoroaster continued to spread the poison or virus everywhere he went. He took captives and recruited many to participate in his activities. Many to this day are unaware that they are in legion with him. He is one of the many rebels in the universe. I am sorry to see that he has made such an effort to harm you. I will destroy his efforts because he has violated my space. All of humanity and other societies will benefit. I commit this to you today.
I'm grateful for your assistance. Is there anything I need to know to allow the purging of the virus from all around us?
Just watch and listen. You will see that he is first shut down, then the rebuild will begin. It will be a shaking in the system. Remember, he is the Lord of the Flies, the Lord of the Air. This is where you will find him. He is never in the earth. His other name is Beelzebub.
I see. Now it makes sense. I could always see him floating, similar to that guy in Dune. I also noticed that he would spin.
That was to create confusion and chaos. He is the one that taught people to create vortexes. These are the tornadoes of confusion, not healing. There is no such thing as vortexes healing. They create only chaos.
And that is what I always kept seeing with people who use vortexes to influence others. That's interesting. So tell me, who were these recruits that I witnessed in the white building? In the white buildings? Are they ancient priests who know these processes? Secret societies, secret religions, hidden agendas, masked to prevent harmony?
All of the above. The hidden agendas will come to light. The secret societies will lose their power.
All participants will have to face me. It doesn't matter if they were only human. I can trace the soul's origin. We know now who were the original perpetrators of this effort to deconstruct the foundations. I am able to find and locate them and remove their core existence if they continue to rebel. Regarding the foundations, all of the gates are now closed. The reassembly has begun. Also, Dag's request for Mick has been honored. All is returned back to its original state. You are also now freed of this responsibility.
Well, well, well. Oh, hang on. Yeah, turn off that plastic megaphone again. Yeah. Well, well, well. Yeah, wow, deep, eh? Yes.
Yeah.
So you must be getting other pictures during this conversation, don't you?
Yeah. He shows me this space that is very strange. It's kind of, it almost, reminds me of a structure, or the structures and the foundations don't look like buildings. I mean, they almost look like pieces of a puzzle, or like sections in tiny pieces, or kind of, I don't know how to describe it. And it's almost like
3D puzzle pieces?
Yeah, and there's like pillars, but not the type like in Rome or Greece. It's just different. And it's kind of white. But
so I mean, when you're looking at these, are you like standing in a space that has got lots of pillars all in rows? Are they? Is it surrounding? Are they like all the pillars holding up a roof? Is it?
It has that feeling, but they only show me like, it's almost like I don't have a large, vast perspective of it. They only show me like a very small glimpse of it that's kind of contained. It's like, say if there's a large, 200,000 foot expansive area, I might see like a 10 by 10 square foot of it. It's
like a little window
yes.
into it. I see.
Just enough that I see that there is something in disarray, and it's some things that are tipped over. It looks white. It looks like a pillar that's knocked over, and then some pieces that are pulled out. And
okay,
yes.
The previous show with Tracy, she was talking about Dionysus. And that brings me back to this vision that you were having over a year ago now, I think, or nearly a year ago, about Dionysus in a broken temple.
Yeah.
And now are we talking? Is that Mars? Now we know a bit more. Is that Aphrodite's temple on Mars, or is that the one in Cyprus?
Yeah. Well, the one that what we're talking about with Kraton is go in way deep into the atomic space.
Right,
and
so it's like in an archetypal dimension.
It is the foundations of everything that we exist in. It's beyond the matrices.
All right, so
it's like a subset. Say, for example, we have what we perceive to be our layout and our matrix, and you shut that down, and beneath that is yet another one. And I don't know how many levels deep that goes, but he was on like at least a fifth dimension of that depth. But it's not in the earth, it's not below, but there's an inner quantum depth that goes far, and so these were constructed a very long time ago. And the beings like Kraton are the ones that own it, that had created it. You remember he was attacked at some point and he was scattered, which brought in the black stone. He was the one that took in all the darkness. He had a few different functions, but he is very ancient and is stepped into this other depth of our existence. I'll say depth because it's so far from our reach that you have to be very ancient and have an understanding of where these things are, but it's almost like he manages it in a way that he doesn't let anyone touch it. Now, Andronicus also talks about being a pillar that works with the foundations probably in a different way, and that's his region. So when anytime they're telling me, someone tells me that they're working with the foundations, that means that they're just displaying to me how ancient they are. And that, in essence, they're the ones that are holding things together or had created something as a subset or primary set of foundation.
Okay, now, the ancient, if you look at these old Greek temples, there's characters called caryatids. And, you get four, and they're like statues of goddesses that are actually pillars. Mm-hmm. They hold up the roof. Yeah. And that's the image that I'm getting when you're talking about this. Now, when you're talking about the pillar of society, you're talking about somebody who is holding up a principle. And since the universe is a living being made up of, layers upon layers of other living beings, to say that there is something that is holding up the atomic structure that actually has a personality is not too far-fetched.
Right.
So when, the Hindus talk about a myriad gods and goddesses, this is what they're talking about, that these are spiritual principles that are actually embodied and have a character and a personality all their own because the universe is alive. Mm-hmm. So when you talk to these beings, you're talking to something that is a collective of collectives of collectives. Yeah, wow. So I'm just blowing my own mind here.
Little did you know.
This is what my mind sounds like when it's blowing.
That's funny. You're going to need that later.
This is a British explosion. You see, American explosions don't sound like this. That's not American. Americans are much deeper, boomier. That's a British one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So, no, you're right. I mean, this is who you're talking to. When you're talking to Kraton, you're talking about, it's getting pretty deep. And believe me, the first time I saw it, I remember I told you he was huge in scale. Just huge.
Yeah, I tried to make him sound big by, coming really close to the mic and then putting the echo on it.
Yeah. I think that the part with the microphone is, we may need to redo the Tektatron from last week because someone said that they couldn't hear it very well.
Nobody could hear it. All right, I was thinking today maybe I'll just tweeze the frequency a little bit so it's just a little bit lower than my normal voice, but not too low that you can't really understand it. Yeah, it's just tweaking. I've got it set at about sort of 2:30. I can maybe turn it a bit further down. It's a real knob. It's a real machine. It's not digital. Well, it's a digital machine, but it's actually got a real knob on the front of it. Unlike it's not a digital signal processor. Anyway.
Yeah, so getting back to Dionysus and the temple.
Back in the temple of Aphrodite.
That would have been in Olympus. So the Olympus is in just another dimensional plane, and this is kind of, if you invert everything and go quantum, then that's where Kraton is. But if you come up out of the quantum and look at dimensions in our field, then that would be Olympus. Ooh. So it's a different location, but based off of the same principles. That's why you're seeing a similarity.
Mm-hmm. So, shall we do another reading?
Yeah. We're going to move along, but let's see if there was anything that we needed to bring up. All right, so the whole thing with Zoroaster, I just want to mention. Oh
yeah, good old Zoroaster, who like somehow in some dimension is my brother or something.
Yeah, well, he totally freaks me out, because for some reason, why do people do rebellious things? It's because they feel inadequate. and I get this heavy feeling about him feeling inadequate and having to prove himself, and his father being Ahura Mazda. And then we recognize Ahura Mazda said that he was your father. Somehow he was connected to you, JP. His apprentice or ancient times or whatever. So, and that's why everyone kind of loves and recognizes you, because you've been around for a long time. And of course not in this, your age-wise, but soul-wise. And, anyhow, Zoroaster had a chip on his shoulder because he had, beings like Zamfir around and Rodan and all of these others. Just hold on one second.
Yeah, you do have a very rustic setting, and it was really beautiful. Just when you started, it was all Tweety birds, and it just sounded like you were speaking live from the Garden of Eden, Jessica Morocco, and and now somebody's got the machine out, and it's going, it's murdering the world, as you're killing plants. I can hear them screaming in my head.
I know that all of a sudden there's like they get the saw out there and they're starting to cut down trees or doing something like that.
Somebody mutilating a person here.
I know, the trees are alive. Okay, so Zoroaster, I had a realization of what Zoroaster did. I wrote about it. I wanted to reveal what he did going into the foundations or going into the atomic field and messing things up, and the reason why we're all so out of whack here. He's not the only one, apparently, and I don't believe he's the only one either, but I know Kraton confirmed that. But the whole thing of when he got here, he was just like, well, how do I get control of things? And he knew if he could, start a war, then someone else could resolve it. But if he got into the foundations, and no one else knew how to get into the foundations, then whatever he wanted to do would stick. Because no matter what they do, it's almost like trying to change things out of form, but yet it would bounce right back like a rubber band, it would just pull it right back into whatever he set it as. And that's why, you see it. I don't know if this is the reason for the perpetual problems in certain areas of the world. And remember, keep in mind, the Middle East was a location, that whole Palestinian thing that came up, that we figured out, with Ahura Mazda and him. And he was upset about it because they were trying to decide who owned what part of those civilizations. And it was a struggle between him and Rodan. And, Khalib, who was the other brother. So you have this like contention type of thing going on. And so then I'm seeing, later on we're seeing how this whole thing rolls out, where Zoroaster says, all right, so I can't get it that way, let me get control from another way. And then, of course, another ancient being is Saturn, which they call Saturnus. And here he is, very ancient and really untainted, not really bad. Everyone says Saturn is an evil place. Well, I always wondered that too, because I saw Saturn is like one of those beings that I saw playing ball with the planets, kind of tossing the planets back and forth and driving around in the planets. So, he was one of them. And so then you have this, he's in stasis as they go into stasis, and Zoroaster, knowing this, he arrives there. He looks at him and he feels envy and he feels anger, because no matter what he does, he can never quite have that knowledge and power that Saturnus has. So he reaches down and recognizes the value of the heart. And you even see like in some of those like Aztec and Mayan cultures, what did they do? They pulled out the heart. They knew the value of the heart and what information was in there. And so they pulled out the heart and he replaced it. He didn't exchange. And then try to, utilize that energy and make himself be like Saturnus. But of course, the truth of who he was bled over it. And created a problem, and then Saturnus kind of got locked in time in a way, at least his physical being, or the matter of whatever contained his essence, whatever, I don't know if it's in physical form or what, but I saw him literally sink into the planet then, and then the energy of Zoroaster and what he had done kind of tainting the whole planet, whereas it made sense to me why Saturn became this war planet, or a planet for a prison, or a planet for, those rogue beings. It's because they were able to pull then off the energy. But there's different layers, there's different ones that participated in that as well, and of course, as soon as you have an area like that and it's not cleared properly, then you have a revisitation of that energy. Am I going with this part? So I just wanted people to understand what happened there with Saturn. And then Saturn is actually then his essence leaves his form and decides now he's out doing other things too, which I think may be trying to retrieve or correct things, or try to bring in the goodness of things, because I really felt Saturn was good. He was not bad originally. Anyhow, so Zoroaster now has come face to face with Kraton. I guess it's become a time of reckoning for Kraton. I think he's had it. He's out of stasis. He's awakened. He's aware. He's eliminating the energies. He's encountering whatever has to be encountered and putting everything back into order. He had that incident with Zamfir. He didn't like what was happening with the planet, and he stopped that from happening as well. So, and it's not that he is over and controlling everything, but within the parameters of what he has built, he's the one that's in charge there. So, anyhow, so that's I just wanted to kind of give an overview of that part so people can understand what I'm learning from this whole process.
So, at this moment, we're at the top of the first hour, and I have lined up Roxy Music.
Oh, I have a question though.
Oh, hang on a second.
You gave me a song.
Did I?
In the end of what Kraton said, what did he say in the very bottom?
Oh, hang on. You want that one? Because I've got one. Hang on.
Remember what he said?
Reload Kraton. All right. Where are we?
He said something about Dag and Mick.
Dag's request for Mick has been honoured. All is returned back to its original state. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to talk about that. So basically, by altering the atomic foundations, what he's basically done is affected the kind of ultimate default behaviour of the universe, which perhaps insteed of going linear has made it curve round and eventually come back to itself and create the Ouroboros and cause us to time loop and things like that. Is that the gist of what we've been talking about? What you've been talking about?
I'm not sure. He does respond to that. It created a form of chaos, and that, like I said, there's certain things that happen that even though people, it's like everyone wanting peace, but we can't quite get peace because there's something askew.
There's never the evil never quite goes away. It always escapes, and it always somehow has a chance to escape.
Mm-hmm. There's something in the cogs that are just not allowing the time to wind properly. There's, and that's the broken aspect of the foundations that he's working on. But the thing with Mick, they said something about in his other consciousness. I don't think he's aware of it in his lifetime here, and I'm probably wrong for talking about someone that's, they could be offended, but I don't mean to. But what he's saying to me, and whether that's an essence of him, actual him, or, an aspect of him, I don't know. But all I know is that he came here first. Dag followed him because he wanted to know what he was doing, and he thought he was a son of Kraton. And so was experiencing here, and when he discovered, when Kraton said, you were not, necessarily my direct son, he still wasn't angry at him, but was going to keep him there with him. And Dag wanted him to go back to where he belonged, and so he released them both. So that was resolved. But it was funny because it happened the same time when you sent me the music of David Bowie and Mick Jagger. And I thought maybe we should play that instead.
We're back.
Good job. That was awesome. It all worked together.
Yeah, so, I mean, when... Hang on. Just let me turn off Queen and David Bowie now. Under pressure. Anyway, meanwhile, back at stately Ariel Manors, so how are we doing? Where are we?
We're at Andronicus. We're gonna have to keep moving here because we have Randy. Not Randy. Viking.
Yep.
Viking is going to be joining us.
Andronicus. So meanwhile, I'm sorry, you got any more?
Andronicus 51.
I'm wondering if anyone is hearing me at times. I seem to be caught in a time loop. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. You're still there reassembling things? Are you working with Kraton?
Not necessarily. We work independent of one another. I have my space and he has his. Well, he has yours? I am now working with Simon Magus. You know him as Merlin.
Tell me about it. What would he have to do with you reconstructing the timelines? I thought you were working on this.
I was, and then I paused to see a pocket of time in what you know as Avalon.
Did you call it a pocket in time? Are you saying it doesn't exist on any true timeline?
Well, it does in some way. In other ways, it intersects in your present timelines. On other occasions, it intersects with other timelines.
So tell me, does that mean that some of the souls in that reality come into our reality, potentially, wreak havoc, and then depart? Or something like that?
Yes.
Oh, you don't want to elaborate, do you? Do you realize that I kept finding myself there?
I know, I shouldn't have mentioned it to you. You were like a fragile doll there. I loved your essence and wanted to forever remember you. Many of those who you are interfacing with are from this pocket universe. It looks like a snow globe to you. I think that's once what you called it. Very amusing.
No, really, Andronicus. Is that still influencing my life today?
Gwendolyn, stop fretting, my dear. I just wanted you to know that I was and always will be your friend, Lancelot.
You were who? Are you kidding me? Doesn't that make sense? You with all the women. A fair-weather friend and a lover who left me bitter and forlorn in the end.
I tricked you, didn't I? Although the trick is now on me. 2 of the members have escaped the reality. 1 is you. I don't see you anywhere, and this is the reason why you were excluded from a few things in your group. On the other hand, you have done a few other things in another reality that was not supposed to happen. What do you have to say for yourself?
You're asking me? Really? I deserve to be free.
No, you were not to be free until I discovered who or what had betrayed me. Mordred is still there, and Simon. And wait, where is Morgan?
Is she in Ireland?
Oh yes, I see she wants to get back home but doesn't know how. Let me assist her there. And you, Gwen, come along and get back to where you belong.
I'm not going anywhere. This is where I belong. I'm not supposed to be controlled by you. I am meant to be free. I'm not a doll or a puppet. You should not let the others go. You should let the others go as well.
Oh, they like it here. You're the only one who doesn't like it here. Why's that?
You know I don't belong there. It's a prison, isn't it?
It's a reality that continues to perpetuate until it's resolved. They can't resolve it unless all the players are present.
What about you? If you were Lancelot, you haven't been there either.
That's true. There goes Morgana.
She's safe and well in her castle. Okay, your turn now.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
I must finish something. I should not be married. I was tricked into being married there, so I left.
Who tricked you into being married?
The Lady of the Lake. We have another name for her. The Black One. I'll never forgive her for that. I lost myself in that moment, and she took from me.
Who took from you? The Lady of the Lake, or the woman who was your wife?
I see both. They may be one and the same. You're solving my problem. Very good now. I'm seeing it all unfold. I hear the conversation. You know, for the longest time I didn't want to look at this. Now that I have it, it's all revealed to me. I'm unraveling it all now, so I catch it before I get married. She becomes a beggar. Ah, yes, now I see the crone and the curse. Yes.
Are you okay? What is this all about?
It's done. You're all now freed. Take care of them all. They will all come to see you for healing. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Wait, aren't you going to tell me what happened?
Another time. Just be grateful you're all freed of this, including Primus. None of this was to harm any of you.
Then an image of the 1700s revolutionary time appeared.
All right, that's enough screaming.
Okay,
Hang on. Just to roll it all off. We have to come back to reality, otherwise we end up in Andronicus' pocket universe.
I know, but do you believe that?
What's that all about? So is this tell me what you know. Tell me what you know.
It's not a true reality on our timeline. That's why people just are very confused about it, because they have partial truth about it and then it doesn't make any sense. They don't know if in fact it existed, but it had to exist in some level because it was written about. It's kind of like falls under the category of High Brazil, you know, or High Brass Isle as Rodin called it. It's kind of like something that steps into our reality through timelines and then it disappears.
So it sort of phases in and out. And so is that what this other group has been doing as well? They've been using that technique to create a pocket universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? I see.
Yeah.
Makes sense now.
Although I'm wondering what involvement Andronicus has, since he's the one who has access to the timelines.
Well, we'll find out in the next exciting episode of The Andronicus Transmissions. Jessica Ariel Morocco on Wolf Spirit Radio and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. Anyway, yeah. Oh, and hi everybody on YouTube. Hello.
Yeah, and don't forget to donate to Wolf Spirit Radio, and anyone looking, well,
yeah,
we'll do a little tiny advertisement here. We are working on our website, and if there are any artists and anyone that wants to contribute to the website, let us know. And also anyone that's good at transcribing, and wants to help and assist in that way, or has any ideas of how to easily take the transmissions and have them transcribed. It'd be awesome. Or one other piece, anyone that has something that they would really like to share on the show, like we've had guests come on here and things, epiphanies and other connections and connecting the dots that they've done. We welcome your feedback, and if you want to share, in the beginning of the show or the end of the show for a few minutes, that'd be awesome too. Okay? Alright,
okay, so who next?
Borkum.
Borkum.
Who turned off the lights? Where are the stars? Where am I? Hey, let me out! Where am I?
Shh, Borkum. What are you doing here?
I don't know. Where am I?
You're in a cavern on Mars.
I don't want to be here. Let me go free.
I didn't put you here. You seem to be knocked out and left alone.
Where is Andronicus, and who are you?
I'm Adrian. Who is Andronicus?
If you didn't do this, how do you know my name?
Here, I will loose you. I don't see anyone else here except for Mars. You are on his planet and I work with him. We want to know how you got here and when.
I don't know. My head hurts. I was traveling with Andronicus and now I'm lost. I guess I can find my way back to Jupiter from here. We were stationed there before we headed towards the outskirts of the universe. Oh, I remember. I was with the Black Emerald Legion. They fought a good fight, yes, and then I returned to my homeland. Why is Suma here?
She's helping me to find everyone. Apparently you have all decided to talk to her instead of me. It has been really difficult to connect until I connected to her. She seems to be the hub of the network. Now we're almost all reconnected, but you come from my ancestors. You still seem very vibrant and powerful and young.
You know Primus. He was one of us. Suma, on the other hand, I don't know where she came from. I know that Andronicus has a thing for her. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know. She can be helpful. Tell me, will you join us? We have a collection of men who are joining together again. We have laughter and help others.
Hey, what about Tektatron? Are you still his prisoner?
He is my prisoner. I deprogrammed him. He will no longer bother either of us. Good work on your side.
Yes, good work. Whatever you did. Hey, tell Primus I'm still expecting to share libations with him.
I will. I also talked to Andronicus, and he is doing well, I guess. Something about being caught up in Avalon.
Yeah, woman problems as usual.
I'm happy to see your quick recovery and that you're in good spirits, considering your mishap.
That's true. I do need to find out how I got here. Bring me to Mars. I would like to speak to him.
Do you like that one? I like that.
Yeah.
Borkum.
Well, cool. He was always, he always gets a shout out, as they say.
I wonder if we should, I'm gonna look up the, Tektatron from last week. I don't know if you have that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder this might be a good place, because who do we have left? We only have, Meetis, right?
We've got Meetis, and then we have, Viking with us, so,
Viking's coming, so if we can...
Yeah, sorry, if we
People couldn't hear the last Tektatron, so, did you want to do...
Oh, you want me to redo Tektatron with a slightly different voice? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, well, do you want me to do that now?
Let's see, can you easily find it, or should we go into, Meetis, and then we can look at...
Is it 4 or 5?
Tektatron? It would have been the last one.
I've got 5 here, yeah, there we go. There we go.
Right, okay, so hang on, let me just kind of wind up my clockwork megaphone here, yeah.
Let me see, I have to find it too.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think it sounds fine.
Is that clear enough? Yeah, I'll turn it right up. There we go. It's funny because it comes in a slightly delayed time to my ears, and it makes you speak like you can't hear your own voice, and so it kind of adds to the pathos of the character.
Yes.
Anyway.
Tektatron 5.
see you saw Adrian lately. You didn't seem to have much to talk about.
I thought he left you. You are still in communication with him?
Why, of course. How can he not speak to me? Where else would he go?
I don't know. I thought he may prefer freedom over having an overseer.
Not everyone wants to be free. Many of you like being told what to do. After all, I have information about everything. He has his faults and a bit of a temper. I try to get him to see the reality of things.
What is your reality, Tektatron? Is this your mission, to control others?
Yes, and I like to be the winner. You don't do well with table games, I heard. A bit of a sore loser like Adrian.
I don't like any type of games that require mind games. Why don't you just come clean and say who you are and why you are here and what you want?
Adrian is now one of us, and we want to control the way things go on your planet. You refer to us as Archons, but I see that we are the illuminated ones. It is so much lovelier than Archon. Who would think of such a term? They are temporal in their thinking, not immortal. Why ponder their importance?
You are a clone of some other immortal being who lived on the planet. You are not as the originals. You are a timestamp, an artifact. Similar in appearance, but lacking the true essence of anything divine. You are devoid of truth and light, only holding malevolence as your banner.
Oh, how descriptive and insightful, but hardly true. We were informed we embodied the exact likeness of our former selves. I remember many things that happened to the original form. I was once Hermes. That's how Adrian sees me. He can see no other. He Hermes and remembers me.
I knew Hermes, but I don't remember you. You're a robot, a soulless being, an empty tin can. Let's be honest. I will not go along with your games and lies to deceive others.
You see, there are many Hermes on the planet. We were created because the original one was weak and burned in the fire.
What fire? I don't remember any fire in Hermes dying. He's immortal. How can an immortal die? Please, explain that to me.
He rebelled Apollo and drove himself into the sun. They had closed the sun gate and he drove into the fire and never returned.
If that happened, then I will find out about it. Then, how did you get his DNA if he is gone?
We all have the baseline of Andronicus. You know that? The extraction of all the ancient blood, life force, is at our disposal. We can revive ourselves at any time.
Okay, if you were Hermes, what was the memory of being in the fire of the sun?
It was invigorating, like a new birth. I shed my old skin and here I am and you.
You are crafty like him, but not him. I will never call you Hermes. You came to me in a dream this morning, didn't you?
I warned you again to stay out of my way.
How did I step on your toes this time?
You know what you did, changing things in the timelines, removing people from my control, removing power from our sorcerers. You need to keep your hands off and be a good little goddess and be on your way.
You don't have any jurisdiction here. The airways are not yours, and I will see to it that you are disclosed for your actions before the higher realms. You can fool others, but you don't fool me. I know who everyone was or is. There is nothing you can do about it. Stop harming humans. That is final. I will tell everyone what you're doing.
You're not a lot of fun, are you? Always doing the right thing. Look where it got you. Alone, poor and trapped. That's what I do to all who don't obey my system.
Well, why don't you be a good little robot and find your way back to your make-believe planet on your make-believe world with your make-believe identity and be on your way.
Very well, if you want to play hardball, I can do that as well. You will have to get through Adrian before you can get to me.
Then I got a sick feeling thinking that I would have to deal with Ares or Adrian, the demolition man. He was very hard-headed and generally difficult to talk to. If he gets worked up, it is even harder.
Oh, Adrian! Look who's coming to visit.
What does she want?
She claims I am not Hermes. Isn't that ridiculous?
She doesn't listen very well, does she?
I agree. You should not speak to her anymore. Let her find her own way.
When you learn to listen, we will speak to you again. Otherwise, be on your way.
Ares, how can you believe he is Hermes? Hermes would never dress like that. What is he wearing? Some type of odd jacket. Does he even fly?
Why do you wear that jacket? And why don't you fly?
I fly when you are sleeping. I like this jacket. It is my favorite color of purple.
Now that I think of it, I never saw you fly. Only transport. Go on now, get out. Oh, sorry.
Go on now, get out. Leave us alone.
Oh, Tektatron. Tic-tac-toe. I win.
There you go.
Okay.
Wow, that was tricky. That's so tricky to do that. Like, I've got my hands on the effects. I'm trying to scroll up the thing with one mouse, and I've got this other thing with the down thing on there, and then hello, you know.
You did it magnificently.
It's so Hitchhiker's Guide though, because they use virtually the same kind of technique, sort of the same equipment to do so.
Awesome. It is that's it's that kind of sound though that really depicts how he sounds.
Mm-hmm. Good. So,
all right, Meetis.
Our final meeting with Meetis. So, there we go. There's Meetis' theme. I'm back in true form again. I had earned my keep and no longer needed by the council. By the way, can I say that I am having fun again? Would that be troubling to tell you that when I see you, you still have much labour around you? Truly, I do deserve this rest. I am a creature of comfort, like a cat curled up in his fluffy bed. I don't mind the beds of hay just as long as I can play.
Oh, Meetis, you're always full of nonsense. Although I really don't mind it because I think it is a silly distraction.
You all need to laugh more. You're all so heavy and downtrodden by everything. Don't you know that your heaviness keeps you in the reality of sorrow? I don't want any of you to stay there. I will tell you that I am quite angered by those who have been bothering my friend Primus. You know, he is favoured by me. Now, don't be jealous. I know you want to be my one and only.
Meetis, that is not true. I am not in love with you.
Fess up now. Speak your heart and truth. I see you often admiring me on occasion.
I find you amusing and playful, that's all.
Primus is heavy in heart. I sing to him, but he doesn't hear me. I speak to him, but he disregards my voice. This is your doings. You have made him feel as if he's not being spoken to by me.
I didn't do that. I haven't done anything.
Oh, Suma, you're so wonderful. Oh, Suma, you're so loving. Oh, Suma, blah, blah, blah.
Would you prefer my life over yours?
Never. What a tedious, ungrateful existence. I cringe at the thought of it. Why would you agree to such an arrangement?
Honestly, I don't know how to get out of it. It's like swimming up toward the surface and yet never arriving there. Does this ever end, or am I in some type of loop?
It ends all right, and then you get into something new. La la la, and so it goes. I'm bored. Where's my tuning fork? I can't fix this silly machine you call a piano. Everything is out of tune. There are the strings, like a harp. The rest is nonsense. Pedals and boxy structure. I shall have a go of it when I am done tuning. Just let me start my piano machine. More later. Summer. Alright, hang on. I'm just going to get a piano up. Yeah, I'm just picking up the,
Or you could just do the scales.
Yeah.
You don't need a piano.
Yeah, alright. Oh, wrong thing. Oh, cancel. Never mind. Meanwhile, what have I got? I've got that.
Fixing the piano.
I haven't got a piano yet. I'll sort the piano in a minute. Have I got organ?
Organ would work.
Yeah, I tried to get a piano in there, but hang on. Well, we'll talk a second, and I'll hang on. Forget it.
Yeah, and he's not playing the piano. He's just trying to get the right tone and scale.
I've only got percussion on this thing now. Anyway, back in Meetis' character, I'll knock everything over.
Sounds like you're working on the piano.
Yeah, I am. Ding, 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 ding. Mi, 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 do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. There now, they have a standard to go by. I will tell the inventor of the piano how to better craft this beast of burden. You can see my anger about this. I know it will change how people listen to music in a more stationary location. Music is not supposed to be in a stationary location. There, I said it. It was intended to be mobile, out and about, to get people in harmony outside and away from the cloistered cells called theatres. I hate theatres. Be out in the open air, let the birds and the wind carry the tones. I'm done.
Can I ask where you're at? Is it the 1700s?
Something like that. I'm still in France. You know I don't like France. I like jolly old England, my home. I want it to be my home forever. It just so happens that there are things happening in France that I need to correct. It won't be long. You will soon hear about it. I've also found a beautiful place to bathe. Oh, say, the countryside is quite intriguing. And stop falling in love with me. You know I don't like to hurt you.
I am not in love with you.
Silly girl, it is here in France that you fall in love, as usual. Very well, be gone with you for now. Tell Primus about the chambers. The chambers, Primus! You're all supposed to remember. Hear a song. A song for both of you. My instrument of choice. The lute. The tower built was made of silt, the lower chambers, treasure killed. I stand alone. I found my home on lower levels. London, Rome, there is a basket built for one. Still I'm alive and never done. Set free of Geb and Dag and Mick.
Now they can be freed of all the nasty tricks. Fire up the cavern, set free the innocent. I'm here as a witness. No need of despondence. Open the gates. Let out the prisoner. They did nothing to offend, but obey the masterful intruders who pretend. I'm a Frenchman now. So let me take a bow.
Okay.
Indeed. I don't know. I don't know where that one.
That was good. Very well.
Where that one went.
Bravo. I'm wondering if we can take a short break, maybe a song, and I'm just gonna, I'll be right back.
Okay.
And then we'll bring in Viking.
Yeah, this is, Roxy Music with Avalon.
Oh, perfect.
Back to Answers from the Universe with Jessica Ariel Morocco and myself, JP. Are you back with us yet? I will be bringing Viking onto the show in a few seconds' time. This will be just bring if I can find. Yes.
I am here.
There you
Sorry,
are.
I had muted my mic.
Computer.
And so thank you for that intro. Coming back.
So yeah, there we go. And I found my piano sound. So
Oh, do re mi. Do you want to do the do re mi?
So the do re mi's. Let's go.
Let's go.
La mi 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 mi. There we go. So that's what Meetis was trying to do.
Yeah.
So let us summon the Vikings. Where is he? Oh yeah. Talk about anticlimax, talk about like.
Yeah. And then the connection is.
Yeah. Hey,
It
it's Viking. Hey, Goo. Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good, JP. How are you?
I'm very well. Well, I've put myself through the ringer once again. It was actually, I felt it was quite light and quite, we got some good fluidity there, Jess, at some points. It was really kind of working like, like when you see actors rehearsing the scripts, for like like when you see the Star Trek crew rehearsing the script around a table. That's, it just felt like it was really getting fluid like that. And, we're a year on. This is the, Andronicus 51. Next week will be 52. Just the new
That's
volumes.
Right.
So, I will step back and, allow the Viking to step up to the soapbox.
Well, I've been very profoundly influenced by these transmissions. I've only come on possibly in the last 15. But the information is so layered and so compact. It's almost as if they can't come right out and say what they have to share with us. They give us these kind of it's kind of like a treasure hunt. They give us these bits and pieces and clues, but we still have to be here to figure it out. This is what gives it ownership, and we're able to find the meaning and understanding and come to clarity, and then we own it. They can't just straight out and tell us. It's not like a modern day university where they just spew out all this information and we expect to retain it. It's more like the Vedic tradition where they tell it in story form, and once we understand it and see it, then it integrates into our conscious knowledge. And this is kind of how they speak. I really fascinated with their use of words and how they tell these little bits and pieces of stories and analogies, and hoping to convey an understanding. And there's been so much that they have shared with us. It's just phenomenal and appropriate to the times. You know, this is a very much a clarion call. It's the call to awakening, call for action, and you know, and they're guiding us to understand who we are and what roles we are to play and how we're to step forth, you know, and understand what it is to love and have compassion. It's just very profound.
Well, thank you for joining us, Viking. I mean, this is, I know that we've had long discussions about it because there's, you know, it's really kind of interesting because you'll say, you know, well, don't you remember what Rodan said? You know, you should be following that practice. And you're very right. And it's just like the information comes through and, I'll just write it down and I'll read through it and I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And then you sometimes will go even deeper into it and bring up points that I hadn't even considered. So, you amongst there's some others too that occasionally that will come up and say something regarding the transmissions. Now, interesting enough, we didn't have Rodan this week. For whatever reason, he just didn't come through and the others came forward. So, did you say that you had something that you wanted to share about the last transmission of Rodan, or?
Yeah, well, the last transmission is actually pretty profound. It's almost like, you know, you can only say so much.
Okay, so we should be back on the air now and back on the tape. I don't know when that stopped recording. Probably about the time you came in there, Viking. But anyway, that should have kicked. Let me just kick the. I'm just going to kick the broadcaster. What that means is disconnect and reconnect the station. That normally kicks it back into life. Okay, so now we are back on F5. We're back on. Yep.
Back on.
Yep. Back. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Andronicus transmissions. Randy.
Yeah.
Jess, sorry. Jess, please, your show. Okay,
so, Viking, you were kind of giving us an overview of how that, you know, what you were feeling, and so if, we were going to discuss the Rodan on number 27. JP, do you see that?
Do you want me to
download?
do you want me to read sections from it? Because, I mean, obviously I don't want to do the whole, well, it's not that long.
It's less than a page. It's really not that long.
So do you want me to read it out?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so. Right.
Meanwhile,
go ahead.
I was going to say that, Viking, so you were saying if you can say it in a nutshell, while he gets everything lined up, what you were saying earlier. Before we went up
I'm
here.
not sure where I got cut off, but, I was saying what's pertinent to this transmission directly ties into the incident in Orlando, and he was really referring to the incident in Orlando as far as, what this dark force and energy is perpetrating into our conscious awareness and trying to draw us into chaos. And I thought the way he articulated it was pretty profound, and I'll point that out as JP reads it.
Okay, so here we go. I see you've been stirring things up a bit on the planet. The wizards, the archons, the black hell dogs, all complaining about your activity. Well done. That is what you were supposed to do. Remind them of our presence. We are watching them, those who got away with many things for a very long time. You're protected, and so are the others who take up the task of being a helper on the planet. Don't get caught up with their drama. This is what they do to distract people. They hide the bigger issues, and beneath it all comes in a maelstrom of problems from an unwatched doorway. One problem after another doesn't happen because the artifacts are being found and caught before they detonate their next attack to control or manipulate. It appears as if none of this is true.
This becomes another way that they can lie and persuade the masses to walk blindly to what happens before their eyes.
So right there he's talking about the deception. He goes on to talk about how the deception is what he is truly dismayed about, and that this is what they do. They create these false flags, these major false flags around the world to keep us distracted. It's like what I was sharing with you, JP, the Mark Knopfler song. They're pointing out the enemy to keep us deaf and blind. They want to sap your energy to incarcerate your mind. You know, it's very profound. And I really like Knopfler's lyrics.
Nicely put. I mean, really, nuggets the whole thing.
I mean, Knopfler, I think he falls in line with Bowie. He's actually a walk-in here to give us some very cryptic messages about our time. But the point is that they do this to keep us in chaos because they are feeding off that energy to keep us distracted. One of the protocols of engagement in warfare is divide and conquer. And this is what they've actually done with our society. They divided us to keep us separated and easily swayed into this corporate doctrination and this old mind control that has lasted 2,000 years. As your guest you were a guest on that show, and she had pointed that out, is that they literally have filled us with this false information and truths and understanding to keep us separated. And what's really important is to remember who we are. And he gets into this in detail. If you want to continue, JP.
Yeah. I'm just finding my place. There will come a time that the truth of what has been happening will be revealed. No one will have to say much. All will know. My greatest concern on Earth is not the bombs, the intruders, the miscommunications, the trickery, but the heavy overlay of deception. I remove it and return to find 2 more veils of untruths have been planted into the minds of the masses. I remove the 2 untruths and 4 more are embedded into the masses. They are diligent and hard-working for mass deception, yet there is a ray of hope. The hearts and minds of mankind striving for truth opens the windows into the skies above. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish.
Their weeping and desire for sovereignty remains in the thresholds of the heavens. It is there, accessible as always. Return back to what you know and have always known about who you are and why you are here. Remember who you are. This is the first and foremost truth.
So he's starting to get into a framework of how we can hold true to ourselves. So he's saying that it's through our, first of all, the awareness of these tragedies, basically brings, conscious awareness, but we don't have to go there. It's important to know that these are the contrasts that we are able to gain a sense of self. You know, do we buy into it? Do we allow it to influence our lives? Are we going to be able to awaken and recognize what's truly happening and how they're manipulating our lives? And so we can then gain, it's facing a different direction. It's awakening into a whole different state of awareness of being true to ourselves. You know, this is actually giving us an opportunity to choose, because it's all about choice. We have freedom of choice, and how we then discern and understand who we are, which is one of the first laws, and remembering who we are, which is really important. You know, why we're here, and then he talks about the consciousness, and then the divine consciousness. Well, first of all, who are we? You know, it's like, why are we here? And it all comes down to he refers to love. You know, the love of that we express, and literally. So when spirit is channeling through our body, it hits the heart chakra, and it emanates as love. Well, what is love? You know, love is a multifaceted diamond. I mean, it has many facets which reflect sense of self. So love essentially is passion. You know, what impassions you? You know, what gives you inspiration and aspiration in life? This is who we are. You know, so for from any, it's skill sets, skill art, skill craft, and these are definitely viable veins of passion to remember. What is it, why are you here? I mean, I love gardening, and that's my passion, and that actually adds to the greater good of the whole. I'm a trader. I buy and sell, and I bring goods into the greater good of the whole, and anything that feeds the greater good of the whole through your passion, and that which can also then spawn into compassion. So we all live as one, is really important, because it's holding together that keeps us true and keeps us separated from the chaos. And also it creates an energy, creates a vibration, which is the consciousness that he speaks about, the consciousness of us uniting as a tribe and holding true. Rock solid, he says, rock solid, intrepid. You do not falter. You hold true to yourself. You do not let yourself compromise and get sucked away into chaos. You don't let yourself get sucked into the judgment of society and into the people around you that aren't honoring and validating you. You hold true to yourself. You make the decisions that are appropriate, that actually will resonate, create a ripple effect. Because as we're speaking now, we're opening a portal. And we're reaching out on how many thousands of people, but etherically, it's rippling much further. And people are awakening, and we're here to help them through their stasis. So it is about truth. It's about love, and love is about holding true to your passion. So once you finish the rest of that, because we're almost done here.
So maybe do the truths. Remember who you are.
Yeah, first of all, the first and foremost truth is remember who you are. Once you remember who you are, then you can remember why you're here. This is the second truth. The third truth is that you are all interconnected. And the fourth truth is that you are forever divinely connected. Regardless. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Can I just roll it off? It's only a paragraph.
Yes.
Regardless of all things around you, remain in these truths. Keep rock solid in your faith of love and divine connection. This is your foundation where you will never plummet from. It sustains you in ways that builds a fortress of protection unlike any other. The most powerful of all is love. Dwell there always. Peace to you and all mankind. Rodan.
So really holding true to your love, so your passion, and what this does, it creates a coalition. And it really is a protective force, because once you're drawn into this coalition, this higher vibration, this higher collective consciousness, which literally affects the global awareness. It does. It's like the 100 monkeys syndrome. There's pockets all throughout the world of people awakening and doing what we're doing and being able to unite and band together in this conquest of truth and awakening and holding true to who you are. You're only as strong as your weakest link, so you got to go back, and that's what the contrast does. It helps us to understand our soul shards that have fragmented us, and this is our work: is to bring our souls back together into one solidarity, to one essence of truth and passion, so we can then begin anew. This is about awakening and venturing into realms unknown, but knowing that we are protected.
Yeah, we're defragging the gods.
Exactly.
Defragging the world. So, Jessica, we're about out of time. Do you want to say your special words of farewell?
Yeah. Well, we had a nice little journey today. We went through Mars and Avalon and God knows where else. And then we journeyed backwards to the previous show and reviewed Tektatron and Rodan. So, and Viking, thank you so much for reviewing and bringing to light that very, very powerful and very succinct message from Rodan. It was, thank you, bringing out the depths of what was said, and also thank you, JP, for being a part of this journey. We're having fun and learning along the way, many different lessons.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week. And thank you for all those listening in the chat room and those listening on YouTube. We love you. Keep connected. We'll be back next week.
The fourth truth is that you are forever divinely connected. Good night, everyone.
Engage number 1.